guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing another which one is better, and I have done several of these on my channel now, and so I will leave my playlist link down below if you guys want to check out any of those videos. But basically I try and find books that have the same type of plot, and then I read them obviously, and based on my opinion I will tell you guys which one I thought was better. And so the books that I will be doing those on today is going to be Catherine House by Elisabeth Thomas and Bunny by Mona Awad. And right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you that I didn't like either one of these books, but there is one of these two that I did rate just a tad bit higher. Like a tad bit higher. So how I normally go through these is I will give a brief synopsis over each one, and then I will tell you guys which one I thought was better and my reasonings behind why. So we will go ahead and get started. So we will go ahead and start with the one that I had to suffer through first, and that is going to be Catherine House by Elisabeth Thomas, and I did listen to this on audiobook. And this follows our main character by the name of Inez, who gets accepted into Catherine House. And Catherine House is like this elite academy, and anytime anybody gets accepted, they're accepted for 3 years. And when you go here, you are basically cut off from the world. You no longer have access to your family and friends. You can't talk to them. You no longer have access to like TV or music. You can't bring in your own clothes. Everything you need will basically be provided by Catherine House. And this is also the type of place that is supposed to like, produce like prestigious lawyers and doctors and political figures. So it's like an honor to be able to go to Catherine House. So basically we're following Inez as she goes through her 3 years here at Catherine House. And it's literally following her in her day-to-day life here. So we're following her as she's going to class, as she's just doing her daily activities, as she's going to lunch, as she's going to breakfast, as she's going to dinner, as she's hanging out with her friends, as she's taking a shower, as she's doing her daily activities, as she's like meeting new people, as she's hanging out with her roommate, literally following her day-to-day activities. We're also following her as she's starting to discover some things that's going on with Catherine House that shouldn't be going on with Catherine House, and then we're following them as they are getting initiated into Catherine House and some of the weird things that's going on with that. So that's basically the plot of this book. And then we have Bunny by Mona Awad, and I also listened to this one on audiobook, and this one follows our main character by the name of Samantha, and she is also at university, and she is actually a grad student. And while she's at university, she is like at this workshop, and she's in workshop that's like this smaller class, so she doesn't have too many in the class, but she's in there with this group of girls that her and her friend calls these group of girls by the name of Bunny. But one day, well, she called her and her friend Ava calls these group of girls the Bunnies. And one day Samantha gets this invitation from the Bunnies to go to like their smut salon, and the story basically takes off from there. So once she goes to this like gathering by the Bunnies, they start inviting her to other things, and she ends up like getting entangled into their activities, and she starts following them around. She starts not hanging out with Ava as much, and she starts getting entangled into all of the crazy things that Bunnies do and all of the weird things that they do with these guys. And so the story basically takes off from there, and that's what this book is about. Like I said, I had to suffer through both of these books because I did not like either one of these books at all. I thought they were both very boring. From the synopsis of both of these, I thought both of these books had a lot of potential. They are actually both very similar books. Both of these books have like this cult-like vibe to them. So Catherine House, the whole story has like this cult-like vibe to it. It has, like once you get in, you can't really get out unless Catherine House kicks you out. And they claim they only kick you out based off of your grades. And there's even like parts of this story has like a lot of potential, because there are scenes like when they're trying to get like initiated, and like they have like, there's like this moment where listening to the audiobook really came in, where when they're getting initiated, the head mistress person by the name of Victoria like had them chanting, I'm gonna get the chant wrong, but she's like, you know, we're in the house, Catherine is the house, be with the house, be one with the house. And it sounds really it sounds really creepy like when you listen to it on audio. And it's like stuff like that that really gives it like these cult like vibes, and how intense some of these people are with like submitting themselves to like Catherine House and being all about Catherine, and just giving yourself to Catherine and being all about Catherine. And it really gives you like those cult like vibes. And then you have Bunny, where, you know, you have our main character by the name of Samantha, who is with these group of girls who, once she gets like entangled with them, they don't want her to be around anyone else. They don't want her to be with her friend Ava anymore. It's like literally all about them. And I think it's like 4 or 5 of them. And then they had like their head person by the name of Duchess. And it's just all about them. And I feel like with like these cult like vibes, both of these books have so much potential, and they both try to go there, but they just don't take it like far enough. And I wish they just did. And so in both of these books too, they bring up like the idea of experimentations. So in Catherine House, Inez ends up finding out that back in the day, the school did a lot of experimentations that they shouldn't have done. She finds out that maybe they're doing those experimentations again in this school too. You have to pick like I forget the name that they specifically use, but you have to pick like a particular major, and everyone has to pick it. And that is like what you focus on, I believe, like after your first year, like you're committed to that. You have to focus on that. And that is what you're doing for your next 2 years. And so one of their majors is focusing on, I think it's called like plasma studies or something. And that is like based off of that experimentation that they're technically not supposed to be doing. So Inez is trying to figure out like what is going on in this lab. And so that is like this subplot that is going on in this book, but it's so covered up with all this other boring stuff that's going on. And I'm like, I wish we could like focus more on all of that experimentation. You're like trying to like creep around instead of us just following her day-to-day boring stuff. Like, I want to know about more of the experimentations. Like, why are we not focusing on that? And then the same thing with Bunny. We find out that the bunnies are doing these really strange experimentations on these guys. The only thing about this book to me, and maybe it's just me and I just don't understand, it just didn't make sense to me about what was going on. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but it just didn't make sense as far as what was going on, why they were doing it. It wasn't explained well, and maybe that was like the mystery of this story, but I just felt like I needed a little bit more. It was like random stuff that would happen, and then they would hurry up and move on, and I'm like, well, that just didn't mean anything like, it didn't stay there long enough for it to have an impact on me. It just seemed weird, and then we moved on, so now I'm bored again. So I just felt like we kept, in both books, we just kept getting like little nuggets of stuff, and then they would move on to something that just bored me to death. And it just kept happening in both of the books. Now, I will say, in both of these books, Each character had a friend that was trying to tell them to get away. And they each had a friend that had some common sense, because these main characters had absolutely no common sense. So, okay, so in Catherine House, basically after your 3 years, you know, you graduate and you leave. And we kind of find out, or you kind of pick up, that in Catherine House, most of the people that get accepted into the house, they're not in the best situations to begin with. So they don't necessarily really have anywhere to go when they get out. They barely have places to stay when they get in there in the first place. So one of her friends was telling her, like, hey, you know, don't get so wrapped up in this house, because we got to get out of here. Do what you need to do. Get the education that they sent us here for, so that we can go. That makes perfect sense to me. Like, we got in here, we got a place to stay for 3 years. Let's do what we need to do and leave. Then we have the same situation in Bunny. Her friend that she kept leaving and she kept ignoring because she was so wrapped up in these girls, her friend was like, hey girl, you're in a cult. Those girls, something's not right with them. You need to leave them. They are not right. It seemed like it took Samantha so long for her to realize that something wasn't right. I mean, eventually something clicked, but it took her a minute. It took a minute. But it's like in both of these books, it seemed like these main characters have friends that had some common sense, because these main characters had none. And then these audiobooks, boring. The audiobook for Catherine House was boring. The audiobook for Bunny was annoying. The voices that they use for the bunnies, god awful. Oh my gosh. The voices were like these high-pitched, whiny voices. I know they did it for a reason. I know there was a purpose behind it, but it was so annoying. It was just so annoying. I did not like these books at all. At all. The other thing that I did not like was the open endings. I don't like open endings, especially for books that I already don't like. If I already didn't like what was going on, and then you can't even wrap it up, no. Now I need you to end it. I need you to end it. I need you to tell me what's going on, because I already didn't like what was happening. So I need an ending. Don't just leave it open ending. I don't like it. I didn't like it. So they were both open-ended. So with that being said, I ended up giving Catherine House 1 star. I ended up giving Bunny 2 stars. The reason why Bunny ended up getting 2 stars for me is, yes, it had an open ending, but there was also something that happened at the ending that kind of made you rethink everything that happened in the entire book. I'll give the author credit for that. She got an extra star for that. But that doesn't make up for how boring the book was. I also heard and read that Catherine House was a retelling of something. And when I found out what it was a retelling of, I thought it was going to like blow my mind. I thought it was going to be like one of those things where it was going to like have me think about the whole story as a, like, rethink everything and be like, oh, well, now everything makes sense, or have me rethink everything. No. When I found out what it was a retelling of, it made me even more upset. Because I know the name of what it was a retelling, but I don't know that story either. So, like, I just feel like that came out of left field for me. I don't know who I would recommend this to. I did not like either one of these. These were, I have never been so angry. I had forced myself to get through these to make this video. And yeah, nope. And I was really excited about this one because this one sounded more up my alley. I saw more people who I follow who really enjoyed this, and I don't know why. I don't know why they enjoyed it. I don't know if I got the wrong copy. I don't know maybe my book's not the same. Maybe I just didn't understand. Maybe I got the wrong version of the audiobook. I don't know, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And it makes me nervous because I just bought, before I started reading this, I got her other book, All's Well. And if it's anything like this, we are in trouble. I did not like this. Oh my goodness. I did not like this one. And then this one, Catherine House, I saw a lot of mixed reviews. I didn't really know what I was going to think going into this. I saw a lot of people either liked it or they didn't like it, or some people... No, I just saw people either liked it or they didn't like it. I really didn't know how I was going to feel about this one. I was really hoping, I was giving it a chance. I was like, well, maybe, you know, it's just going to get better. But the audiobook was 11 hours. It was the longest 11 hours of my life. It took me a week and a half to finish it. It just didn't get better. I just didn't like it. So that's all that I have. That's all that I have for you guys. I'm sorry that that's where we're at. I have a 1 star and a 2 star. But one of them did come out better. But that's all that I have for you guys today. I hope I see you guys next time. Bye.